All right, we are live. Welcome everybody to another Creator Spotlight. This time, I actually have two guests. Today's Creator Spotlight is with April Reyna and, of course, our good buddy Dustin Grinnell from Ethereal Comics. Um, Wanted to take a minute, sit down with April and everybody just to kind of go over some things, like she's been doing, what Ethereal's doing, and of course, just to have a great time with everyone. Um, so April today is drawing some nice stuff. Um, and as always, our channel is never going to be syndicated to the PG-13 crowd. So if you are 13 or above, you are good to go. Or depending on what it is, 21 or above. And
Yeah.
today is probably going to be a 21 and above day. So if you are not 21, please head out. So as we see today, here's what April is currently working on. So definitely wanted to say thank you guys for coming. Thank you all,
For sure.
everybody out there in YouTube land. And if we have any viewers or anybody or not, that's okay. You know why? We're here to have fun. And to me, that's
right.
the most important thing. It doesn't matter about how many views and how many people you got. It's about having fun.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Oh, you're welcome. All right. So, April, we met a long time ago. When you were working Naughty Fairies stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So, I want to show some old stuff that Dustin might not have seen.
Oh, a blast from the past?
Uh-huh.
Oh, get him. Oh, boy.
So, let's show. Now, this was a special one she did for me.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That was the stripper day.
Yeah, it was.
And it's got glitter on it.
It does. It's got glitter everywhere.
Everywhere.
This was the first one she did for me. Wendy had it on her page, and it was funny because I had to talk to Wendy, then I had to go talk to April, I had to go back to Wendy because Wendy had the book, and then make sure somebody got paid for the book. But yeah, it's still in the collection. So thank you so much for this one.
That's pretty epic. One of the coolest things that April does when it comes to glitter is April has a way of doing glitter that doesn't suck. A lot of people suck with glitter. Like, you'll get the shit and it'll be all over the place. It's just like, then it'll get in your fucking eye and you'll just be like dying and shit because the glitter. But no, she has a way of
it's a spray craft glitter that you can buy, and it acts as a sealant. And so it doesn't slough off. It helps protect the art. It's really, really awesome. Makes your fingers sticky, though, like when you're working it until it dries.
I mean, nowadays it doesn't make your fingers sticky. That's all I'm saying.
Hey. You gotta be careful with that stickiness. There's a wipe for that.
But yeah, no, that was not this stripper day or International Stripper Day, but last stripper day, wasn't it? Like last year and a half ago?
Yeah, 2021.
Oh man, that's so awesome. I was gonna do it this year too, and I can't remember. There was some sort of obligation that I missed out on, and I wasn't able to do it. I had it marked on my calendar, so I took a photo of my calendar to send to a friend because we were trying to coordinate something with dance, and she's like, "International Stripper Day, huh?" And I'm like, "Oh, that." Well,
what you don't know.
Yeah, right. She's like, "I want to hang out with you." I'm like, "I am the boringest person ever."
If she says that, and then when you do hang out with her, she's batshit crazy. So
oh my goodness!
Don't ever, in the best way speaking, batshit crazy.
I do.
Yeah, if you saw an Artist Alley when she's doing her drawing and her sketches, I mean, it gets bad some days on there. Like, she gets mad at things too.
Oh my gosh! Just don't try to get her to do math. You'll be all right.
Oh my god! Well, you need 2 shots of tequila to make that happen. We were at a show in Orlando, and was it Orlando? No,
Yeah,
Sarasota.
Orlando.
Yeah, Sarasota.
Orlando.
Right, yeah, Orlando adjacent.
Yeah,
And
over there.
And my daughter was like, oh, hey, yeah, by the way, I have this like geometry problem and I need help. And I'm like, we just talked about the fact that I was going to be like 500 miles away and I can't help you. She's like, but, and so it took 45 minutes and like 3 rounds of tequila, but I figured it out because tequila makes me smarter.
Yeah. Well, apparently we were also, trying to work and deal with like the mail fucking review that was right behind us.
Oh man,
and
that was a good time.
It was a fun show. They won't do that show again. They actually stopped. They canceled that show, but
got cancel culture. It got 2022.
Yeah. Well, that, and I think it was probably the least showing I'd ever seen at a show ever. It was not great. We'll put it that way. It was not great.
But we had so much fun.
We did have a lot of fun. That was the Taco Bell titty lady.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. We have a lot of fun with shows, period. Like every show, Ethereal has a good time no matter where we're at. So if you show up,
bring the party.
We are the party for sure. I mean, oh my gosh, Vegas, we were also the party. Oh my gosh, there was like 6 of us in Vegas.
Oh yes.
Oh my gosh, if you count Steph and Ryan, there were like 8 of us.
Yeah.
So many people. It was amazing.
It was. They definitely titled that show correctly. Amazing Las Vegas.
Yeah, it was a good time. We met some incredible fans. We got to hang out with some great folks. So it was definitely a good time. This piece is going to be incredible. Like perspective on this is super fun.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, y'all need to come to Dallas now.
I wanted to do Dallas Fan Expo. I really wanted to.
You do. You need to come. Everybody's here.
There's a lot of shows that we want to do. This year is a very different type of year for us because we're trying to. It's almost like we're preparing for years to come.
Yeah. The first 6 months is gonna be something cool to experience, but it's gonna be like a virtual presence. After that, we should be freed up. We've birthed the new set of norms.
For sure. Well, like I was telling Nate, I mean, going to 2 books a month was a definite difference for us. We wanted to prove we could do it. We wanted to show the fans that they would continue to get the same great quality, even though we were doing 2 books a month.
Mm-hmm.
We moved to a new printer. There's been a lot of things going on with the company, which have been incredible. So you guys are going to get some really, really cool stuff here shortly, but picking up new artists and new types of products. We picked up a couple new writers as well. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes that we're very, very proud of and very happy about. But all these things, they take time. And for us to be able to give them the time they deserve, we have to take time away from other aspects of things,
Yeah.
Well, it's like when you're a teacher or when you are a mother or taking over like something important, you want to make sure that you've got not only hands-on and accessibility, but you want to make sure that you've got your eye on the most important things, and that is the team. And I think that's the most critical thing that Ethereal has, is that it's not just a me kind of situation. It's certainly like we are a team together. We rise together. We travel together. We definitely want to make sure that the books that we produce are, the greatest that they can possibly be. And if you rush that, you don't get our best. And let's face it, times are a little tough. And if you're going to throw your money towards entertainment, you want it to make sure that it matters. And
Absolutely.
I have to admit, there's a lot of pride that I have. Once I joined, I was working as a cover artist in a kind of a guest honor, and I got to work side by side and be a part of that part of the process. And then when I moved over into the art director, project manager, administrative assistant, just general badass.
Oh yeah.
It's a whole different ball of wax, but it really gives me a lot of pride. I know that I have found my home in comics and indie comics. I haven't ever really wanted to really work for the big two. I mean, if I was ever going to throw my hat in the ring, it's going to be for DC or Dark Horse or whatever. Just something a little obscure, but not like the main titles. But then I really got to thinking about it. Why? Why?
To answer that question on the screen real quick, though, I don't think that we are going to be at Planet Comic Con this year. Maybe next year. There's a bunch of shows. April is she has her eye on a bunch of different shows right now. The thing with, again, that she just mentioned was we run together. Like we roll up in shows fucking deep. You know what I mean? So like most of the shows that we go to, you'll see us at, there'll be 3 and 4 different ethereal artists, and you may not even realize that we're all together because we're in different sides of shows and different areas. So we're doing our best to start making sure that we get tabled next to each other or near each other, and little things like that. But there's a serious concept of the team with us. That's and I'm guilty of saying it all the time. But when we eat together. You know what I mean? We're at the table together. We're if one of us needs something, we step up. You know what I mean? Everybody gets taken care of. And that's what it's like. We're bringing back the bullpen, man. We're bringing back the concept of what it is to be a team,
Like a
and
studio.
right, absolutely. Like we have some of the coolest cats from the 90s and stuff that you love to see. They're all on our team, and they're all great people, and they all bring different aspects of this amazing industry to the table. But we've also got these incredible new monsters, you know what I mean? And we like to be able to have these nuances from genres and time periods so that each of us can experience the things that we didn't, and we can grow together and learn from other individuals. I count myself as very, very blessed to work with the people that we work with. April is one of the most talented I've ever met in my entire life. And and then you combo her with like Blade and Hunter, and you can't fuck with my administrative team. You know what I mean? Like they're the absolute biggest banger right now. And then, there are a couple of folks that in my mind are modern masters that are on our team. If you look at, Dan Kemp, or who's been around forever and killed in every major company that you can look at, or you go over and you look at Devin Massey, who has been killing in the indie scene with Cave Woman, and you stop to look at these folks and you realize that you're surrounded by monsters. Like I used to have the worst, I used to think I didn't fit. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't good enough to be amongst these people. And when you start looking at the compilations of the things you're creating, and you realize that as a writer, you're never going to be the lead guitarist of the band, right? But I've never wanted that. I never needed to be the big dog on my own team. That was not something I needed. So when you start letting those things go and realizing that you are a cog in this massive machine, then things get so much crazier. They get so much better. Like, again, another thing I'm guilty of telling people is I am not the company. You know what I mean? The company is so much bigger than any of us as individuals is. Like if you look at Agent C, right? Everybody loves C. C's everybody's fucking favorite. We love C.
Yep.
If you look at C, and if anybody doesn't know who C is, C's the main character from If It Hops. We love fucking C. She's great. Nate loves C. But C is a great character. And April's favorite, I'm pretty sure.
Very much so, thank you.
But yeah, look at that.
Yes,
I love that. But there's something to be said about that character. She will outlast all of us, because right now, as new as she is, we'll go to a show and people know C more than they know me. You know what I mean? They come in and they're like, oh yeah, that's the rabbit that everybody's blowing up about. And I'll be like, yeah, I did that. And they were like, who are you? And I'm like, you know what I mean? But it's like, but that's okay, because now you're getting to the point where you're starting to see your hard work pay off, and again, I don't need people to know me as long as they know these characters and they know the artists and they can talk to the artists and see the artists because they're real people. I'm just a figment of imagination. You know what I mean? I'm just
and like he brings up a good question. He says, does April prefer pencil and paper or digital? That's been a huge topic in the comic scene right now, is digital versus real. With all the stealing, between AI and all that stuff. So,
man, are we going to get into that rabbit hole?
I'm not going down the whole rabbit hole, but I will say this: from me, as being an old guy, I still like it when it's drawn.
Sure.
On paper, it's every time first. But I've seen so many people take it today, like what April's doing now. They'll draw it, they'll do some inking, and then they'll scan it in, and they do their changes digitally. And I've seen it look amazing. So you can't tell me it's not 100% okay. It's just different. It's a different mindset, I think.
It's just a different tool to use. I actually cut my teeth in the industry doing color steps for Heroic Age Studios. So I, in a backhanded way, was already working for DC before I even knew what DC really was. Because we did color steps for JLA, JSA, Teen Titans, Stars and Stripe, Hour Man, a whole bunch of stuff. And it was great for them to be able to teach me how to use Photoshop, because that's what I use. It's the only thing I know how to use. I know people have Wacom tablets and Procreate, and there's a lot of tools that are more affordable and available to up-and-coming artists, and that's fantastic. I don't have the knowledge or the patience for it nowadays. But I will take my line art occasionally, scan it, and color it. And that's what I'm doing for Rain right now, is I'm doing digital colors for it. One of the coolest things about this art directorship for Ethereal is that I can step in any capacity to assist, whether it's to try to do backgrounds for an artist that might get behind, to help out with inks, to help out with colors, to just emergency stuff, acts of God that come in. I can come off the bench and I can help out and get the product pushed in the right direction. And it feels really good to be proficient in multiple aspects of the industry and not just be like, oh, hope everything works out. Like, no, I can actively help.
Oh man,
Thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts
and prayers. Oh yeah, I've got the XP pin. I've got like the 22. I think it's the 22 or the 24 of that. Yeah, no, it's great. It's super great to have that big screen. And I finally found my pen last night. So it's dead right now. The only thing I've successfully done with it is figured out how to write my name. So now I have a brush.
Well,
but
like,
yeah,
I think
it's a great thing. Huh?
It's interesting when you start talking about digital, right?
Oh
Because
yeah.
as a kid, I hated digital covers. Like I hated digital
Ooh.
covers because you had things coming out like a Reboot was out, and you had, you're a Transformers fan.
Beast
You had
Wars.
Beast Wars out and stuff, and they were doing covers like that, and I hated it. Like I hated it so much. And then as I got older, like April mentioned, it became a tool. The issue that I think is going on right now is not the tool itself, is it's how people use tools. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just like anything else. Like we have with Ethereal, we allow our artists to use our characters to do prints or art pieces or whatever else. You know what I mean? And they're all licensed products,
Mm-hmm.
But if someone else were to do a Agent C and it wasn't fan art, and we're trying to make money off of it, I'd have a problem with it. April would have a problem with it. Bladen would have a problem with it, but that's the problem that's going on right now is people are coming out and they're angry about the AI artwork, but at the same time are not angry that people are using each other's IPs. You know what I mean? And I think that's the big elephant in the room right now, because everybody just got this crazy like notification about Disney coming at artists about their properties. And I think that the computer stuff the AI stuff is the exact same thing, and people are just noticing it more because it's affecting more people.
Yeah.
Like if you go to a show, if you go to a comic convention, and there's those big old walls of artwork that doesn't belong to the dude that's got that big old artwork wall up, right? You know what I mean? The folks that are loitering people's artwork and borrowing it or whatever else. You know what I mean? Most of the people in the comic scene will go to bat for other creators if they see their artwork on those walls and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the same type of thing that you're starting to see now with the AI stuff. It's not just affecting creators anymore. Now it's getting into the artists, and it's become more real, I think, than it was before. Like if it just affected the writers or whatever, the creators could go in and you could file lawsuits or cease and desist and whatever else, right? Now you've got this ability for people to come in and be like, hey, I want an April Reyna piece of her drawing this, and this. And essentially the AI can do a shitty version of what you've asked for, or even an amazing version, depending on what you're paying for. Because they sent me one as soon as the shit started coming out. We got the beta sent right to us. And to be fair, I was like, fuck this. This is too much to begin with. But it was absolutely ridiculous. But I didn't know the extent of what people were doing with it. To me, it would have been a great tool to do, like, so if I wanted an ad, like an image for an ad, and I own the characters, I'm going to use my own characters, but I don't know how to draw them as well as some of the other team members do. And stuff. I could be like, hey, I need this, and this, and look like this. You know what I mean? And I thought that it would be a tool. Like I would use it like a tool. And the more we started seeing people coming out on it and using it for other things, it just opened another can of worms, I think.
I think more than
But-
anything, you need to use it as a tool. There needs to be a mind behind
Mhm.
how it gets put together. If all you do is plug in a couple of ideas and it turns out something, how do you take credit for that?
Right.
Oh,
Right.
no, I gave it the direction. I'm like, okay, but what did you personally do to sculpt,
Right.
to create it, to, you know, like, there's just, it gets real hard. Anything that gets you talking about art is worthy of talking about, but you can't market yourself as an artist if you didn't like actually
Draw it or do
create
it.
You can compile collage. You can, if you print it in decoupage jewelry, now all of a sudden you're a crafter. It's different.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
yeah, now it has merit. You've touched it. You've impacted it in a way. But
Right.
to just generate something and be like, oh no, I'm an AI artist. I'm like, yeah, I think there's a word for that, but Webster's dictionary yet. That's going to be like an issue in the 2025 edition with all of these yeets and whatever else that these kids come up
Hey, don't use words I don't know what they mean.
I don't know them words.
something.
My
but
kids ain't taught me yet.
yeah. There
Yeah.
you
My kid is barely teaching me anything anymore. So if I,
go. Oh, that's because she's 12.
yeah, she's terrifying.
Yeah.
She does.
Love her to pieces, but she's terrifying.
Yeah.
So like as we oh
The
wow,
great thing about
currently
computers-
working on your own book. Do what, April? Sorry.
The great thing about computers, though, is that you can create art using a variety of brushes and colors
Oh my
that you may not
for
have
sure.
accessible. So when you create work in Photoshop, it's still art. That's something that you've
Absolutely.
sculpted and created. So, I mean, digital artists are still artists. It's just that they're not going to be able to, like, it'll take them some time to actually throw down some markers and give you something. But they still have to be able to match color. They still have to be able to know pattern and line differentiation and tonal variance. Like, there's a lot of stuff that happens. And if you walk down Artist Alley, you will see digital artists, and not all digital artists create the same.
Well,
So-
I'm
He
like,
got a Wacom this year. That
Oh,
thing's
yeah?
pretty awesome. Well, the school,
is.
so they got him from the school, right? The art class got him, and they're absolutely awesome. So yeah, no, you have to. It's just like April was saying, you have to respect the tools. If you're using a tool for evil, it's going to be an evil thing, right? If you're
now you
using
got
a
me
tool
excited.
for good, it's going to be dope. Dias, when it comes to working on your own book, what aspect are you working on? Are you writing the book? Are you drawing the book? I mean, what are you doing in the book? I wish I could see the comments because I answered it.
I think. Well, he said he had an XP pen tablet, so I'm thinking he might be doing a little bit of both.
Right on. So if you're writing a book, take your time. Right, take your time. Don't be in a hurry. Yeah, if you're doing all of it, now I can actually see it. If you're doing all of it, take your time because, like, when it comes to everybody's different. Okay, so everybody's different. Like I know people that will take 6 months to write a story. If April, you can put me in a room for 10 hours and I'll come out with a banger. You know what I mean? It's just we all have, and that's not shooting my own horn or anything. That's just being honest. And we all have our own skill sets. Like, I'm never going to tell you I can come out and I can design characters. I can model characters, whatever, but I can't draw by hand as well as team members that we have, So I'll tell you exactly what I want them to look like. And I know to the letter of what they should be like, but actually drawing them by hand is entirely different. Whereas, like, I can write you a story. Like, if you give me 5 words, I can put together a story in no time. Trust me, because they used to fuck with me like that. They'd like throw shit on my web page or my Facebook page and be like, hey, can you put the story together? And I used to do that shit for free, right? Like I'd literally write like short stories with their 5 fucking words in no time.
It's good practice.
It is good practice for sure, and that's something I like to do myself. Is I used to write professionally. I used to write like werewolf campaigns and stuff, and I would put down 5th edition campaigns and stuff for people. But there's something to be said about taking one's time, and April, if you let her, will take forever and come up with a beautiful piece, right? She'll come up with a beautiful piece, but it gets better the more time that she spends on it, I promise. But if you need her to knock out something quickly, she has a skill set where she can come in and knock it out quickly. Same thing with Blade Hunter or any of our other incredible artists. If you give them the time and they're enjoying what they're doing, they'll take time with it, and it'll look better than it would if they took a couple hours versus 15 hours. So if you've got the time, take the time. Don't be in a hurry unless you're equipped to do that kind of work. If you're the person that can come in and knock out a full structured page in a couple hours, then do it. But if you're the person that needs to take the time, don't cheat yourself. Take the time.
There's something to be said about focusing that energy and doing the practice. A lot of the times, these cats that are doing full-blown sketches and stuff on the showroom floors, they've been rocking that at 30 shows a year for the last 10 years. Like they've got that in the bag, and so it's just however you feel comfortable, that's what you're going to do. Now there's nice ways to go about doing a lot of practice. So doing the short stories, when you do the short stories, you can edit it down and get to the meat and potatoes and focus on not only the writing, the dialogue, the action, the paneling, everything matters. But when you're trying to do full 22 pages or 24 or even a double edition, now all of a sudden you got to make sure that you've got the pacing correct and that you've got the right page count, because there ain't nothing worse than having it all done and then you get the call from the printer going, well, so you can either lose a page or you can add 3 more. You're like,
well, we've all done that.
Oh my God, right?
You're
like, hey,
oh my
do you want
gosh,
to buy an ad?
it totally happened. And embarrassing. Let me tell you, it is one of those moments where you're like, oh yeah, I was supposed to know that. Yeah.
Oh my God, I was so sure I had it right.
Yeah, and it's not that your story was short; it's the fact that you didn't put any ads in it. So you don't have that buffer 2 pages. So it'll be like, well, what are you gonna do now, George? And you're like, oh fuck.
Draw me a pinup or 2.
Yeah, somebody give me a naked lady to put in this one.
Oh my gosh, and there you go, drawing challenge. Dun dun dun.
Yeah. Right? Somebody do that J. Scott Campbell thing and send it in my direction.
As long as it's not another ASM 300 cover, I'm good.
Oh my God, yeah.
I'm so tired
have funny that you mention that. I have literally told almost every team member of ours never to submit that cover. Between that one, what is the one where Venom is standing over Peter Parker too?
Oh, 3. It's 300 and something or something.
Yeah, don't send me that shit. I had a lot of love for everybody on our team's art, but don't send me that shit. Because it's right now, I literally was just talking to Greg Bo Watson about an homage that he wants to do for a cover that I've never seen homaged before. but he wants to do it for the next issue of BGD. And I was like, okay, we'll talk about it. But I literally cannot handle an homage that I've seen 150 fucking done.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's too much. That and the overly done cosplay covers, I just can't fucking.
Look, you were all about that in Gen 13 Janet Jackson homage.
That one's only been done like times.
Oh, only like 50 times.
Not in modern day. No one's gonna know
every
it.
single time, though.
Whatever, that shit's gonna bang. I love that. I have that cover. It's already fucking done, and it's just sitting. Devin Massey did that shit, and it's hanging out waiting for a rainy day.
Whose fault is that? Oh wait, do I need
it?
To? No. Is it? It's colored already?
No, it's not colored. It's just laying around somewhere. A beautiful ass.
I guess
cover.
You better be like sending it into the drive and sending me the link so I can get it.
I gotta do something with it. I got
it.
Months ago. Fuck. It was just like on whim. Dude, he knocks out beautiful shit just to be knocking out beautiful shit. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I can't even really. That guy was sending some mega awesome shit just to be mega awesome and make me fucking amazed all the time.
Well, and it's funny, like every time, like on your Kickstarters, I always get Bladen's cover. I always get the, it's just one of those things. I always get the regular cover, and then I always get the add-ons after the fact. But every time I see him do one, I'm like, and then I see all the artwork in the book. I thought about what we talked about last time. He does that stuff in like a week, and I'm like, dude, how do you do that amount of art that fast?
So you can ask anybody. April knows better than most when it comes to Bladen, but he knocks shit out like stupid. Like we were having a conversation earlier today, and like the three of us, and I was like, it should look like this, and all of a sudden he had sketched something and sent it, and I was like, what the fuck just happened? It's just.
I love this conversation of I already did mine though.
Yeah, I'm not doing another one of these this time. Yeah, okay. But his is beautiful for fuck's sake. His Fallen Leaves 2 cover is just amazing. So I can't
really is. It's my new favorite that he's done, and that's got to be saying something.
It is definitely up there, top 3 easy. Because
he broke out the quill pen for that one, right?
Oh,
God, it's so good.
There's that. So I love everything he puts out. Okay, everything. But when he said, and we saw the bear, I about fucking died. I was like, so did you, Nate? Did you get in on the pre-order for Fallen Leaves?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay, so Fallen Leaves is going to show up at everybody's house end of next month. But so issue 2 pre-orders go live at the end of this month to coincide with whatever, you know what I mean? But it's so we introduced this new character, and he happens to be a bear, and Bladen just like throws down this goddamn bear, and I was just totally blown away. Like there are times when our artists come out and I am completely taken aback by the work that they do. April first got me with a concept. It was the very first cover she'd done for us, and it blew my mind, right? Like I was like, I could see that shit. Like, because she did a cover for Greed where Cade and Oz were under the bed, like hiding under the bed. And as a child, I was there. I did that shit. I hid under my bed when things were fucking scary, or I hid under my blanket. And I was blown away by the concept of it. And every book, there's at least one cover that comes out, and I'm like, holy fucking shit. Did that just, is that a thing? Are we putting that out? And I think that Bladen does a good idea, like a good example of surpassing himself on just about everything he does. Like every time he puts out something new, it's wildly better than what he put out before. And I think that's something that most of the team members on Ethereal have in common. I think they're constantly smashing their own goals. Would that be fair to say, April? Like they're constantly bettering themselves at skill sets. So like if you got a cover from let's say Greg Bo Watson on this issue, the next Greg Bo you got would be better than the last Greg Bo you saw, or same thing with like Lewis Bravo or Anbu. Yeah, they're all incredibly talented, and they go out to almost like challenge themselves to do better than they did.
I think what's really cool is that Ethereal as a publishing house gives people an opportunity to work on books that they may or may not have ever thought about. I like to send out a questionnaire to our artists and be like, what do you like? What are you good at? What have you never tried before? And just to get an idea of where we can push them in a direction or cater to their strengths if they already are seasoned and they know better than, well, me. If somebody were to say, hey, what's your thoughts on cyberpunk? I'd be like, oh, I don't know. Have I ever done it? But we have a book that is like really based in a cyberpunk situation. Or, if steampunk comes up, who really likes to do all that mechanized machinery, cogs, wheels, stuff like that. There are some people who are very, very proficient at it, and they just need an opportunity, a story to be presented. And we have, like 7 or 8 titles currently in production, with the anticipation of having up to 12 books by the end of this year. And if you can't find something that you like in Ethereal, you are not giving it the honest try. Right. We have literally something for everybody who's over the age of 13.
Right. Hey, look, ask April if she likes elves. I mean, that's
I hate elves, but I love Fallen Leaves. I hate you for making me love it. I just, you know what? It's whatever. I care about that poor girl. Yes, that too. Underland also got me. So the same artist that did the interiors and created Underland is actually putting out a very, very adult comic called Rain, Rain. We're looking to launch it under the Ethereal Red label. Now, the blue labels are standard thing, the blue flame. But we do have a red label, which is what Squeezem was printed under. And it's definitely adult content. It's definitely a psychological kind of fantasy sort of thing. Beautiful. It reminds me a lot of like being on par with Sandman.
It's wild for sure.
It's surreal, it's dark, it's gritty, it has stylistic version, like it's got a bit of an anime flair. I don't know. I absolutely love it.
In that book. Lots of
Oh, yes. It's definitely for mature readers. So the art is so good. I got to read the first 3 volumes. I'm in love.
So pretty. I know that they're doing several, and they've also got a spinoff they're talking about doing at some point.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, absolutely. So they've got a lot going on with that series, and we as a publisher are thrilled not only to have them as members of our team, but as writers on our team. It's very, very cool to see what they're creating. Specific styles over others. I am so as I get older, I very much lean toward anything that grasps me in a moment. I don't have a particular style I like. I don't think April may know if I have a style or not, because she can tell you if I'm going to hire somebody or not. But there's or I'm going to like a cover or not. You'll see Joseph or Blade and Hunter. Blade and Hunter will be like, hey, he's not going to like that. And they know better than I half the time what I will like and what I won't. But I always feel like it's in the moment anymore. It's very much a uh even if I didn't like, because art is subjective. So when you go at people and you're like, what do you think about this? Well, as a creator, I have to go, it may not be my favorite, but it may be someone else's favorite. They may enjoy it. I may just not be into that vibe. But I don't know. I don't think there's anything I favor over anything else. I used to like when back in the day. Well, I say that back in the day, like 3 years ago, before I started putting out my own books, I always leaned toward like Zenoscope and the art that Zenoscope would put out. Probably because half of my friend base worked for Zenoscope, so it was very like that was what I was around more often than anything else. But no, I don't think that I have any particular style I like as more than any other anymore. Just what feels good. You know what I mean? When you look at a page, does it feel right? Does it feel overly saturated? Do you like the difference between a comic book and a manga? Ethereal's about to, in the next few months, putting out our very first manga-esque book, and it's very different than anything else we've done. So April's got a story coming out that's very different type of artwork than anything else we've ever done. So there's I don't think that as creators, and that's how I'm looking at Dias now as a creator, you can look at art as a favorite or a preference anymore, because it does you a disservice to try to find a favorite nowadays. If you're in the industry, it does you a disservice, because again, you may find something that's not to your taste, but it may be perfect for a group of people that you want paying attention to your product or anything else like that. And again, April could attest to that, and she can tell you, a lot more about certain things when it comes to styles. We've used artists of all different types at Ethereal, and I'll tell you, whether it's cosplayers, because I consider them very much artists, whether it's cosplayers to traditional artists um, to like your strictly digital artists, not AI, but digital artists. And we've used them all, and everybody in between so far, I think. But you have to judge things accordingly. Like right now, when we first started with Devin for Theater 7, we started putting out Theater 7 stuff. It was very different because we had never had a black and white fan base before. Yeah, buddy. That book is so much fun. The full issues show up at the end of the month in people's houses. So I'm really, really stoked about that. The new printer actually banged them. They're beautiful books. But when you look at things like that, when you look at a black and white artist and you don't have a black and white fan base, it's a very jarring thing. That's his first full color book, Nate. He's never done a colored book until that one. And it was interesting to see people's opinions on the black and white stuff. We actually did black and white versions of Theater 7, like the full book, which was really, really fun. But then you go into things like painted covers, right? So like painted covers, if you don't have a fan base for painted covers, they may not do well. You know what I mean? You have to build these bases up before you can jump in and be like, man, I'm gonna do a beautiful black and white cover, because we've done several black and whites that I absolutely loved, and so did the team. We were proud of them, but they didn't do as well because we didn't have a fan base for that type of product. You know what I mean? So you start getting into learning what you're building. Like painted covers. Again, going into that, most people prefer their covers digital. Most of them do.
They print pure. They have
do.
better print quality.
Absolutely. And April had to help me see how it works with your digital colors versus your painted colors and your quality when it goes to print.
Nothing will ever be as good in print. That's the thing, though. My work is going to always look better in person, in your hands. And sometimes I do have to do digital edits in order to make sure that you don't get the streaks or you don't get the texture of the paper, or some colors just suck. Magenta, really light flesh tone. Like, some of that stuff does not transpose through the scanner. That's just the nature of the beast. And you do need to do a few corrections before it can go to print. It just is the way it is. If you are doing a book, if you have to go through and do digital edits on 22 pages, at that point, it's just more cost efficient and faster to color digitally, period.
Right.
Even if you just got a flatter and that's all you could afford, bam, done and done. But yeah, it's always going to print better, but nothing beats the original.
And like for me, for example, I love original, like seeing anything, like getting that original piece of art, but I collect OA. We're a different breed than a lot of comic people too. You know, we like the original art. We like what it looks like. We like, sketch covers it's drawn on. Like, I have the old listener that I had, Marissa. I had Marissa do a remark here,
Aww.
And this is her
issue 2. Ugh. I cried writing that book. I cried hard writing that book.
I've not read this book yet, and there's a reason for that. I haven't read the first issue because I don't have a physical copy. I mean, I'm an old school guy. I gotta have
I will send you a digital copy today when we get off here. I will make it happen. I'll actually send you the trade paperback digital so you can read all 4 issues plus Guy's journal and be caught up for this next book.
This next book is going to be insanely good. I am so excited to see it.
Well, it's funny, like Adam Fields, who did some of the artwork. He's been a good friend of mine for years, but I never knew that he did artwork on The Listener.
Yeah.
You guys, because I was reading his Prowl stuff that he did, years and years ago. So it's nice to see, like, we are a small community when you think about it, it's an independent side. Like Deus on here, he's a friend of mine on the Sworn Nation. I mean, you've got Coffin, you've got Ethereal, you've got us. There's not. I mean, there's a lot of companies, but there's not a lot of companies at the same time.
I'll tell you the greatest quote that's ever been given to me, and it was actually Bud Root who said it. And he reached out to me one day, and he was like, there's a ton of people doing comic books in indie comic books, but there's only a handful in the comic industry. And nothing had ever been said so real to me, that it is a huge overflowing ocean of books, but there's only so many people in the actual industry. And I agree. I think that, but again, you'll start seeing, like with Coffin and stuff, is wonderful stuff. You know what I mean? I wish that Dark Horse was in a better situation. I wish, I wish that there were a couple other companies in better situations right now. But at the same time, if you pay attention to what we've got going on, or you're paying attention to us as a company as a whole, you'll start seeing that, especially with Aftershock, even a year ago, when companies were going under, we were giving people homes, that were losing jobs and stuff. And I think that that's an interesting thing when it comes to this industry, because again, it's not a get rich quick place to go. And I think that everybody thought when you could crowdfund that it would be an easy place, like it would be an easy job. And I kid you not, if it was easy, everybody would make, the $150,000 a year, the $200,000 a year. It's not. It's not an easy playground to be in. Especially like they're the cats that come in. They're like, "Oh, we've got beautiful artwork. Awesome. How's your interiors? How's your story? You know what I mean? Who's your editor? Or how are you marketing? Whatever else." Um, but it's a dog eat dog industry, and one of the biggest things about it is treating your fans well, treating your friends well. It's we joke, and I call all our fans friends, and everybody laughs at me because they're our friends, man. You're when you pick up an ethereal book, you're paying for people's mortgages, you're paying for people to eat, you're paying for people to exist. When you talk about 45 souls on a team, every book that we put out counts for those individuals, and myself included. You know what I mean? So it's like in April and everybody else, we appreciate every little thing, because it's like, talk about Adam Fields. Adam's been with us since book one of the listener, and when we put out the trade paperback, it only felt right to have Adam do the cover work. It only felt right because he's the only person outside of Gabby and Eric that had done a cover for every single issue of that book. And I don't know, man. That book is to this day probably the most intense book that on a personal level that I put out. But because that book was coming out before we had Ethereal. That book was before I considered it a big team effort, and it was only a handful of us. Now, like April was mentioning, if you look, that book has had a complete redo. Like the entire book has been overhauled for book 5. There's Ed Garcia. If you're a fan of Greed, Ed Garcia is doing all the interiors for the listener now. And he did Greed 3, which was, oh my gosh, so much fun. He came on with that. Yeah, love that book. That's a Manny photo cover. Oh, Manny, he's a good dude. But Manny was actually the guy to do the interiors for the first 2 books before Ed came on to do book 3. And he's coming on for the listener. So you've got, and then not only do you have Ed Garcia on for the listener, but you've got longtime team member of Ethereal is David Acampo, who is coming on to do all the colors. He did all the colors for Manny's issues, Agreed. Now he's moving on with Ed Garcia. But it's such an intense book that I cannot wait for people to see what Ed does. Like I am over the moon with what we've talked about, and the covers. Good Lord, the covers so far.
Oh my gosh, the best.
Dumb. It's so dumb.
You are gonna have like a tier where you can like just get all of it, and
yeah, it's real dumb. I think we're only putting out 5 of them, but they're so intense.
Oh, so good.
It's like when you look at the listener. I'll give you another quote that was fun. When we put out the first issue, I was talking to Bud Root and Mike DeBalfo because I was terrified to put out a comic book. Right, I was fucking terrified, and Bud was like, you gotta write a comic book. And I reached out to Mike and I was like, Mike, Bud said I should write a fucking comic book. And I didn't even know what to think, And so, but when I asked Mike to do a cover, it was actually the first, I don't know that it's happened again, but Gwen Dallegalt actually colored the Mike DeBalfo cover for the issue 1 of the listener, and I was blown away with it. And Mike was like, I can't do a nude on this book. He was like, it's top shelf, and he's like, it's the most top shelf thing you're ever going to put out, I'm telling you. And so when we started putting it out, it was all these serious covers, And as the company grew, they just kept getting that much more serious. Like Marissa's been on most of the listener books, and it's just consistently grown. And I can't wait to see what people think of this 5th issue. 5 fucking issues, and a trade paperback. Oh, so crazy.
Now, will you guys be offering that trade paperback for the when number 5 comes out?
Yeah, we'll offer the trade again. We did the trade. What was it, like 4 months ago, 5 months ago, April, something like that. It was something like that. It was something like
that was before April was paying attention the way that she pays attention now.
Yeah, it was like 5 months ago. But the trade paperback, we'll offer it again. And it was so much fun because not only did we do the 4 issues, but we did the Geese Journal, and the only way to get Geese Journal before that was on a Kickstarter. It was a Kickstarter exclusive. So we'll never print the Geese Journal again outside of the trade paperback. But that's a big trade paperback. It's like huge. Anyway,
I'm okay with that. So
yeah, it's real good. I think we were doing it for like $29.99, and they were ready to beat my ass over that. But it was I really just wanted to get the story out. You know what I mean? Like it was so important that to get it to people, because the people that have been following us since we started are still like diehard listener fans, and it's a real serious book, and it's gone through with this issue coming out a huge dramatic change. Because again, you talk about going from a full digital artist, to a different style of artwork, and I can't wait. I literally cannot wait to see what people think. You know what I mean? Or what people, because this is a whole new fan base that's coming into this, because this is a book that was dropping before modern Ethereal existed. So it's like, what are people going to think? Will people love it as much as we do? And this is our big book to watch this year, because we've changed so much about it that we wanted to, we want to get the feedback. We want to share the stories. I mean, it's wild. I mean, if you're into theology or anything like that, you're really going to enjoy the listener. I don't know, man. I'm real proud of it, and I'm real proud of what April and Joseph, or April and Bladen, have done with it, as well as the rest of the team. It's been phenomenal to watch what they've done with things that we've made together. Because I look at the listener like something that was not a huge team effort; it was very small. And now to bring it on to this massive team of incredible people, it's just insane. That's super sexy. I'm letting you know, April. That is banging. That chick on the bottom is badass, dude.
Covered in tats and whatnot.
Yeah, that's pretty badass. That's about as cool as the tied up mermaid.
Oh man.
Well, see, now here's an idea too. So you were talking about black and white earlier. The listener, just from the artwork I've seen of it, it could be tailored to like a black and white version. Like if you guys did a black and white version of listener, do you think it would sell?
I think that it may now. Before, though, it was a very it was all computer work. You know what I mean? Like but it's models and stuff. Like it was engineered. You know what I mean? It was Dice Ice. I have a website. Well, we have a website, but I haven't touched it in a while, because I really wish I had the time to keep up with the website. So what I do currently is I'm like, hey, reach out to April, Bladen, or myself, and we'll just get you the books. Just ask us, what issues you're looking for. But
you can actually get onto the Kickstarter and search and find like what cover you like. Take a screenshot of it. Absolutely. And then send it our way, and then that way, the pricing is there. What cover looks like. There should be like information on like which artists were on it. And then that way comprehensively you can go, oh, hey, yeah, like I want this, 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 and this.
Absolutely.
And you can bulk it together, PayPal, ship it out, easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Yeah, we normally get stuff out within like 3 or 4 days. You know what I mean? It goes out fairly quickly.
It goes out really quickly when it's in stock.
Yeah. So right now, there's not much that's not. I mean, if you were to look at like now, if you're looking for like limited covers and stuff like that, that's a little bit more iffy. But like cover A's, I generally have all the cover A's for most books. But there's this concept when you talk about black and white, right? Like right now, the modern listener coming out starting in issue 5 may look okay in black and white, but like the listener is a very muted colored book. It's not like fantastical, if that makes any sense. Like there's not
Dead was.
Do I know?
Walking Dead, it was, grayscaled and muted.
Yeah.
And
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I just mean but I think the wins, as we show them in the newer books and stuff would be, I don't think you would get as much, I don't know. It wouldn't look as cool, because the listener has to do with a character that can see spirits and the dead, as well as deities, gods, demons, and monsters. So, we have what's called the veil, and he can just literally, see through the other side, where it's all basically the same, but it's where all these, theological beings reside. We joke about the fact that in the listener, it's the only place you could find, Christ and Thor playing, chess together, and it's an interesting world, and it's a very thin barrier between the two worlds, but you see a lot of characters that can't be seen by other people, and I think being black and white would take away from the majesty of some characters, because the winds, right, or the noble spirits are all these beautiful blue hues and stuff. And if you couldn't see that, I think it would take away from it. Versus I think you could do BGD. I think you could do a noir BGD. That'd be pretty cool. You're still getting your dinosaur boobs and stuff like that. And big old
the trick is that you need enough negative space to help facilitate the positive space. You have to have a balance. There are just some universes that we create where you actually need that color in order to discern one area from the other, whether it's foreground, the background, which characters are the most important. Maya has the pink hair. You literally can pick her out of the crowd because she has this wild pink hawk. It's crazy.
This peacock fucking hair, yeah. No,
yeah. And since she, is the manager of this, this bar, you anticipate a lot of seedy people, a lot of dark lighting or spotlights and stuff, and to pick her out of these ambient crowds, it's important for her to be able to be noticed, and that's a great character way of facilitating that. So
I know, for Greed, for example, there's a lot of auras in Greed. Auras and stuff, and you can't really see that in black and white.
Right.
It doesn't ever show. I've seen people try to do it, with grayscale. It doesn't look right.
Right.
Whereas Theater 7, though, I'll actually hold on. I'll send you a picture right now where you can actually see the one of the images that we teased about black and white. Hold on, because we had fans of Devon's that were like, "Hey, get the book." And, they wanted the book in black and white. They were like, "Hey, this guy knows black and white. And we're fans of black and white. And I was like, oh, don't murder me. Let me see if I can find it. You know what I mean? Like it was very interesting because I was not expecting it. I was not like I knew that, you know, they had black and white fans and it was a big deal for him as an artist, but I had no idea that people were ready to like
lynch you,
burn me up for having dude in color, you know. So we definitely we made the book available in black and white. I just sent you an image, Nate, of the actual book, but it's fun to see different people's opinions again and what they collect and what they like to see, you know. And the black and white and the grayscale stuff, it's a different skill set, and I'm not trying to be, you know, to say that everyone can't do it, but it really is a different skill set.
It's taken me years to get comfortable with even inking. Like I use color a lot to hide flaws, but especially during these monthly drawing challenges, I'm like, holy cow, it really, really helps me kind of, you know, get that confident line work going. So it took years to get good at doing anything. Even Absolutely. Writing.
Yeah, like I am. We joke about the fact that I had never written comics before, like putting out my own. You were
a writer and a fantasy developer before you ever.
But that's my claim to having any experience when it comes to when you put me into the field with all these incredible people. That's where I go, well, I'm good at this, and this, or before I started putting out comic books. But the more books that we put out, all of us, the better we get. You know what I mean? Same thing with myself. What were some of your influences that made you want to take up art as a profession? Oh, get them, April. Who were your influences?
That's all April.
Oh my gosh. I've always drawn. My parents got me into drawing classes when I was like 4. I've never been like this good, don't get me wrong. But before it was just, I don't know. I started doing color steps when I was 17 for the comic company. I was still in high school. And they actually took me to my first comic shop and they introduced me to, I don't know, Top Cow. And I can't remember if it was Witchblade or no. I think Witchblade was my very first comic I read, but my very first comic I bought was Fathom. And I think I've always had a penchant for Michael Turner, Mark Silvestri, Joe Weems.
Those are like the fucking modern masters, man.
I've gotten to pet Joe Weems's hair. Okay, I'm like the best thing ever. No, seriously though, I love being me. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love being me. I don't know how I've gotten to be so lucky. I think that the best advice I can ever give anybody is that at some point you're going to have to like hold your breath and take that first step. And I remember doing that whenever I was showing my portfolio to Peter Steigerwald, and he would sit. That man is so kind. Like he literally, like he's like, April, why are you doing your work? I'm like, I'm not as fast as you guys. He's like, but it's after the con, you should be drinking with us. I'm like, I know, but I can drink and I can work at the same time. And he's like, oh my God. He grabbed my paper off of my clipboard and just walked off. And I was like, oh my God, that was the only piece of paper I had. And I just thought he was kidding. And it was like 10 minutes. And I was like, oh my God, where did he go? So I'm like, watch my purse. I'll be right back. So I go on the hunt through the Hyatt looking for him. And there he was in the foyer, smoking a cigarette and doing my commission for me so I could like sit down and talk. And I'm like, what? this is insane. Like, who does that? That's amazing. But every once in a while, when I get a chance to like go and sit down with him, I bring what I've been working on, and I'm like, hey, tell me more. What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? He's like, use photos. There's no shame. Like, the skill's there. You are not one of those artists that can just pull it out of your head. Use a photo. Eventually you're going to get more and more comfortable with it, and eventually you're going to do it right every single time. But there's no shame in it. It's art. If you are a realistic artist and you use the tools that are at your disposal. And I'm like, oh, okay. He made me feel like I shouldn't be ashamed of being the artist that I am. So I pull like 10 photos and I figure out how I'm going to do something, and I do it. And it takes a lot of skill to weave something together so that it looks good, so that it conveys what my clients ask for. Drawing challenges, they give you a drawing prompt. You have to meet that prompt, right? How do I do that? And therefore, you figure it out. But I absolutely have adored a lot of the Top Cow artists forever. Ebass was my very first art portfolio review. It was crazy. He spent 2 hours with me, and it was wonderful. And I'll always, like, he literally was asking me the hardest question I've ever been asked. What is it that you want to do? I'm like, I don't know. I just want to draw pretty. He's just like, the fuck? No, what do you want to do? I'm like, I want to draw. He's like, oh my God, what do you want to do?
You're so sweet. It's a good thing you're, I got that one. It's a good thing you're pretty.
Exactly. No. He was just like, look, there is so many jobs in this industry. What do you want to do? Do you want to do covers? Do you want to do sequentials? Do you want to do backgrounds? Do you want to just draw characters? Are you really good at action scenes? Are you really good at conveying the moment? Are you wanting to be a penciler, an inker, a colorist? Are you going to be a real colorist? Or are you going to do a digital colorist? Are you going to just do pinups? Are you going to be a blah, 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 blah? Like, it just kept going on and on and on. I'm like, honest to God, I never really thought about it that deep. I just am one of those kids that I literally jump in and figure out how to swim. Yeah. I've done that all my life. I have great stories because of it, but at the same notion, I could have done things a whole lot different. And would I be in a better place? I don't know. But I know that I am incredibly well-rounded. I know that I've tried a lot of stuff. I know that I've done sketch cards. I've done pinups. I've done my own art books. I've been able to manage my own Kickstarters. I've been able to usher projects into fruition. Like, it's nice to be able to go, holy cow, I've done a little bit of everything. And I am incredibly proud of that, which gives me the opportunity to offer advice, to offer suggestions, to, I don't know, it's one of the best, most gratifying things I think I have ever done. And when I think about it, I'm like, yeah, man, still in my 20s. And I'm like, oh my God, no, my body tells me otherwise.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I've been working for as long as I have. And when I started, I got my my bachelor's degree from Arizona State University in 2009. So we're rounding into my, oh gosh, I need a couple
13th year.
13th year? Okay, there we go. I'm like, I need more tequila in order to function. My right? No. Just when I need to do math. So So in a little over a decade, I've gotten a lot of experience, whether it's traveling to shows or doing projects, project development, and it's really, 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 really gratifying. But I don't feel like my journey's done. I think I have a lot yet to learn, a lot left to do, and I think that's incredibly inspiring. So when I get to walk up to my mentors and I get to show them what I'm doing, a lot of them, I swear to God, are already like, "Yeah, I know. I've been watching you on Facebook." And I'm like, "Shut up, really?" I introduced myself like 4 times at C2E2 and kept getting that, "Oh my God, April, we know who you are." I'm like, "What? We've never met in person." Okay. So I've just like, I feel stupid, but I feel like whenever you go up to somebody, you should address who you are. And I'm getting like the side eye, like, "Oh my gosh, you're so funny." I'm like, "No, but I'm trying to be nice."
Yeah.
So yeah, I would definitely go with old school Top Cow as far as my mentors. But then again, I'm also a late '90s bloomer into comics. I know that there's a lot of pride that goes into where everything came from. Your Herb Temps, your, Devin Massey's. Like, I just wasn't in that era. I wasn't in that genre yet. So, like, I'm learning that my soul matches a lot of them, but I don't know their art like I should.
Right.
So
I feel old now.
Well, I don't know. It's so cool. Like, I think one of the most gratifying things that I've gotten to do since I took on this art directorship was that I have befriended both Devin and Mitch Massey. And they are just so funny at 1 a.m. when I'm like,
"Oh my gosh, they're a mess."
I know. I'm all like, "Realistically speaking, how much is too much when adding to Kinktober?" And he's like, "Oh, well," and then just busted out like very scientific. And I'm like, "Oh, that's fascinating." So I'm learning as I go. They make me laugh. I like it.
I like it a lot.
I like it a lot. Seriously though, like they have become some like real cool friends. I'm very honored to be working with them and trying to I don't know.
You colored for Devin.
I know, and I totally want to, but fucking Dan keeps stealing all that shit. It's fine. It's not like I have time anyway. It's fine. It's fine.
Well,
it's
fine.
It's totally fine.
It's totally fine. But yeah, no, I did get a chance to step in and get some colors laid in on that Fallen Leaves cover, where like the whole forest is in flames behind her, and she's got like this gigantic blade like stuck into the leaves and stuck into the ground. It's badass.
It's a good one for sure.
It really was. It really, really was. So yeah, no, I've gotten to meet and be friends with people that I don't know personally, and it's really, really cool. So
I remember meeting Devin a long time ago when Bud was still doing Cave Woman, and I heard Devin was coming on board to take over. I was sad but glad at the same time to see what way Devin would take it. Ironically, I'm the only person at my comic shop that still buys Cave Woman.
Oh, really?
That's sad to me because that book is like it's literally the almost like the guide to what a good adult comic book can be. It's not saying that there are other good ones. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that if you were trying to find a modern age comic book that is an adult book, that book's been around for 25, 30 years now.
Yep.
If you were looking for one that could be something in your range and you were trying to figure out what an adult comic book would be, Cave Woman would be it, because there's so much beauty in that book. And Devin puts out he's a great storyteller, so yeah, that'd be the one. And unboxing art, no, that's not the Berserk brand on her foot.
What?
The manga, the anime, the
manga,
the video game Berserk. He asked if that was the Berserk brand on her foot.
Oh, I don't think so. I looked up a bunch of like witch occult symbols, and she's supposed to be like peace and serenity, and she's just like fucking chaos. So they're supposed to be witches. I'm lame. I don't game.
But if you were looking for an adult comic book, you don't get much better than Cave Woman, to be honest with you. If I look at like Cave Woman, and like, again, I was a huge fan of Devin before I actually met Devin, so it's like when he and I had started working or talked about working together, I was head over heels about it. You know what I mean? Like, because this is a guy that I idolize as an artist and as a creator, as a writer, who idolized me at the same time, and that blew my fucking mind. You know what I mean? But he's one of those people that can tell a story in a way that's so good, but he has a humor all his own, right? He really does have a humor all his own, and he has the balls to go where most people won't, and I think it's very telling in his storytelling, and I absolutely love it. Like, if I ever go, like when it's Theater 7, if I ever go to hold back a little bit and he's like, you better just let it go. And I'm like, oh man. So there's a scene in that you guys will get to see here shortly when Theater 7 arrives at people's homes, is you'll get to see one of the we did the 6 additional pages for for Theater 7 and issue 1, and it's like a short story where we're introducing this like ghost into the theater, and so he like gropes Penny in the restroom as she's going to change her shirt, and I was like, so we're gonna insinuate it, right? And he was like, no, we're fucking gonna do it. And I was like, are we? And he was like, yeah. Next thing you know, I've got this image of Penny's boobs being like warped and moved around. And I remember being like, yep, this is awesome. And
you felt like you were 13 again.
Yeah, but that's what he explains to me. You know what I mean? Whenever I'm going to back out of something, to remind myself that that's a part of our psyche that we don't use anymore. You know what I mean? That young dude or that young chick that found something sexually funny, or we don't do the locker room talk or the locker room jokes anymore because we don't want to offend people. But when it comes to Theater 7 or Cave Woman, there are books, and if our fans enjoy them, why take away something that our fans enjoy? So I ran with it in issue 1 of Theater 7 and issue 2 of Theater 7. I think you guys are really going to love issue 3 when we get into the giant the big snake arc. That'll be a lot of fun.
Preview and squeeze some. You're welcome.
Oh my gosh. The dick jokes for fucking issue 3 are ridiculous.
Can't wait to be a cover artist on that.
Right. It's ridiculous. Well, Penny takes the place of Jennifer Lopez in the story.
I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. I was real hesitant. Again, I'm pretty timid. You would never know that I'm pretty timid, but unless you work with me, you probably wouldn't know. But I'm fairly timid when it comes to most of our stories because I don't want to offend anybody or anything. So I'm unless I get egged on, which happens, I'm fairly timid. But the stories that we put out are a lot of fun, and as long as the teams are enjoying them and the fans are enjoying them, I'll continue writing the way they want me to write. But I had never written a comedy before. That shit was fucking way out of my wheelhouse. And but I knew that I had to write this. As soon as Devin was like, I want to do a book with you, I knew that I had to write something, amazing to even begin to say that I worked with him, and then to have Dan Kemp come in and be like, I want to color that. Like specifically was like, I want to color that. I was like, I didn't even know how to act. Like I had no fucking clue how to act. First I've got like a guy that I idolize as an artist working with me. Then I've got a guy that's been coloring Spawn for fucking ever come in and go, I'd like to color that book. And it wasn't like I'd like to. He was like, I'm going to color that book. And I was like, oh, fuck, I guess you are. Like, holy shit. And it was such a cool thing because, again, you look at these folks and as a creator and as a fan as well, like, I don't toot my own horn, but I'm a fan of the fucking work we put out. Have a good one, Dice. It was nice having you here tonight, man.
Bye. Keep it evil. Excellent.
I'm a fan of all these fucking people. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm a fan of April. I'm a fan of Blade, and I'm a fan of all these cats. So it's like when one of them does something amazing, I rejoice in their victory. Not just because of the company, but because it's amazing and they're incredibly talented.
You lift a star
so.
in our honor.
Dude, it's something to be seen. Like the artwork that comes across my desk. I posted about it on Facebook the other day because I had somebody ask me if I get excited about seeing artwork or am I desensitized to it. And I'm going to tell you what, if you work for Ethereal, you do not get desensitized. There is no fucking way that you could ever be desensitized because there's so many folks that come in with so many different styles and so many different talents that it's like if you got desensitized, I would get myself checked. Truthfully, I would need to get
a very diverse stable of artists, and every single cover that gets turned in is incredibly unique. We do not have the cookie cutter artist stable. That's not what we offer.
And that's what I appreciate is like, just showing the books I showed tonight. There's different artists. There's different things going on in the stories, but it makes sense. It makes sense with the style of like Greed, for example. It has a specific style that it's tailored towards, if you're looking for it. Same way with Theater 7 and If It Hops. You're creating this big like multiverse per se. With all these stories combined together, but it's visually different in every scenario. And it entraps you. It brings you in. Like, for example, April did this cover a while back. And this was the Buku Comics one.
Oh, yeah.
And I've had it for a long time. But it's freaking America with a fairy and all the fireworks in the background. That's all it has to say.
Everybody does a daytime scenario, and it felt real right to do a total flip.
And there's actually, and I didn't know there's another cover to this. Like there's like a white cover version. And I just saw it the other day. I'm like, oh, I'm buying that one.
There's actually 4. There's a spring, a summer, a fall, and a winter version.
There goes my wallet.
No. So the Buku Comics one is definitely the summer version. Then there was like a bunch of like purple and pink background stuff. That's the winter version. The pink and rosy color one, the rosy and green one is the spring version. And then there's an autumn version where it's like, you know, the red, oranges, and yellows. It's gorgeous. I had initially printed the line art, and the gentleman who created it, last name Rhodes. I can't remember his first name because we've never met in person. I got the line art, and then I traditionally colored it and then did edits through Photoshop. And I couldn't decide which color palette I wanted. So I did a spring and a autumn, and I'm like, Wendy, which one do you like best? And she's like, ooh, I like them both. And so she had gone ahead and did the variants of both of them. And then she was getting inquiries if there was going to be a complete season release, like, you know, the summer and the winter, to make all 4 seasons. And I was like, wow, that surpasses what I had even thought of doing. But yes. So yeah, it was super fun. Super fun.
I love books like this because I mean it's different too. You know, it's not just standard. You know, like you guys know, I'm a huge Lady Death fan. You know,
right.
But it's different from that for scenario. You know, it's like that's going to be its thing. It's its own thing. You know, like we were talking, like what books should you read when you're coming in if you're new to the, you know, the scene, like Cave Woman, and I'd recommend Lady Death, Naughty. You know, Naughty Stripper fan. You know, do that one.
Oh yeah.
But the one I've read recently that was really good was Mary Machine Gun.
I haven't read any of that. That reminded me of something that came out when we were kids, and I haven't got into that one. And there was another one like that, the nun book, another nun book that came out and reminded me of what was that book that came out when we were kids? It was real popular.
Oh, Ariana.
Yeah. There you go, for sure.
I'm showing my age now.
Yeah, so I used to collect the shit out of that one. You know what I mean? So there are nostalgia factors for certain things, you know, when you go into them, and I think that's a very interesting concept. But yeah, no, there's a couple good ones. Like I said, I haven't read Mary Machine Gun, but I've heard good things.
I mean, and that's what's nice about the industry today is we have many options. You have genres, you know, like for me, I'm a horror guy, so I'm always going to go towards a horror scene, which is why, most of Ethereal books have a horror-esque feeling to them. That's one reason why I was drawn to it, because my first book that I actually read was If It Hops.
Yeah.
Yes.
We love
it. That was the first one, and I read that. I'm like, okay, and I was hooked, and then that's when I called Dustin.
Yeah. No, I'm glad that was one of the books that you hopped in on to begin with, because it was a book that I was nervous about putting out to begin with.
I loved it from the moment you sent it my way.
I was really nervous about it because as much as we love BGD and putting BGD out, BGD is a book that doesn't feel like an anthropomorphic book. You know what I mean? At least that's the feedback I get, and it doesn't feel like one to me either. So when I decided to do a full-on anthro book, I knew that we'd fight the furry comments and all that jazz, and I'm okay with they're very much okay with the furry crowd and stuff, and but it was an exciting book to me because I got into this point where I was writing constantly what I wanted to write, you know, not stuff that was like with the listener takes a lot out of stories that of very biblical and very theological and very like real hard hitting stories. And when I got to put out BGD, I was like, well, this is really cool. I like this style, da 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 da. And then it was just a very things evolved after that point. And I started writing more to, I think, my strengths than just to put out stories I think other people would enjoy. I started being very comfortable putting out books that I would enjoy, you know what I mean? And stories that I liked to put out. So when we put out If It Hops and the feedback was phenomenal, I was just like, well, good. We're in a spot where we can, the fan base is happy with our writing. They're happy with our artwork. They're happy with our storytelling. So, and people that don't like furry stuff were emailing me left and right talking about how they didn't realize they were furries. And I remember thinking it was so funny because I didn't write If It Hops to be a porn. I wrote it to be as realistic as I could possibly put out a book, but with, anthropomorphic characters. And we were sitting, I'll never forget, I was sitting talking to Bladen about what we were going to do if we managed to unlock the additional pages, right? And we unlocked the pages, and I was like, well, now we've got to introduce Agent K. And I am head over heels with, I love K's design. Like, I absolutely love K's design. And so we introduced K and we introduced Ryoshi, and it was just like, well, let's add some fantasy element to the book. And I think that Ryoshi definitely fills that need for a little bit of fantasy element. And the fact that she's involved in something, so much wilder than we've shown you guys so far, that it tickled that bone that I had that I didn't even realize I needed to, tickle proverbially. Like I was a big fan of Buffy as a kid, like huge fan of Buffy. And you start looking at what you put out and the product that you put out, and you realize your influences start showing through. You know what I mean? Even if you're creating, like, we try to do everything original. Like, like I said, I don't really like homages. I don't like, eking off of other people. And when it came to what we could do to make, If It Hops that much more exciting add this character that's dealing with these mystical elements. And it was just a lot of fun. But recently we had one fan reach out, and because a lot of people think they know what's going on in If It Hops. There are a ton of people that think they know, and it's fun to me. I'm happy to listen to what people think is going on in If It Hops, because there's only one person that's got it anywhere remotely close to it, and it's been so much fun listening to people's detective work for this, wild series. And you guys are going to get to see a lot more in issue 2, why it's titled If It Hops and all kinds of other stuff. But it was never meant to be a porn, and I still don't consider it a porn. A lot of people have joked and said it is. I don't consider it a porn. The reason we gave you guys the scene in the very beginning of If It Hops was because, again, as a dude and as somebody that appreciates the nude form, I realized at the start everybody was going to want to see naked, regardless. I didn't, whatever. I knew it was coming. People would be curious. People would ask, whatever. Especially because of BGD, right?
Yeah.
And so, but I wanted people to realize how normal C is. Like, she gets up, she dresses herself, she does her job just like a normal person. And I wanted that to come across in the book, that's what she is. She's a normal individual that's living her day-to-day life, you know. And it comes across very well, I think. So no, you don't get to see gratuitous nudity in or not Theater 7, but If It Hops, because a lot of people ask, how much nudity are we going to get in issue 2? Da, 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 da. And it's like, if it makes sense, it's there. If it's not, it's not. You know what I mean? If it doesn't work for the story, I'm never going to give you guys gratuitous nudity in any book, unless it's the red label or it makes sense. You know what I mean? It has to work for the storytelling, because if it doesn't, it's cheap.
Yeah.
It takes away from everything. And besides that, Bladen and April will never let me give you guys cheap stuff. So, um, and I would never try to give you a cheap thrill to begin with. So I think that it's integral for us to keep our integrity by making sure that that particular book, has its boundaries. Like issue 2, yes, there's a little bit of nudity. Does it make sense for the story? Yeah, it makes sense, because there's a situation where a good portion of the story takes place in pouring down rain. She just happens to be wearing a white shirt and pouring down rain.
Well, and that's the difference between art and porn. That's what it
For
comes
sure.
down to. It's like I have that fight with a lot of people. They're like, "Oh, it's just a bunch of boobs and a bunch of girls, and you just want to." No, it's not that. It's actually the story and the artwork itself. If you actually
For
look
sure.
at the model, I mean, even like what April's doing today. I mean, it's two girls in a situation, but you can see it. They're not anatomically correct. They're doing something that's very naughty. We'll say that. But
Mhm.
Those naughty
um,
girls.
but I will also say too is you can look at it as artwork too. Look at the line drawing. It's just done the tattoo work that's being done on that. You see the highlights going into it. You
Absolutely.
know, like I have an art appreciation as much as a writer appreciation too.
Right on.
Of a story, but you got to have both. But
Absolutely.
but what you can do, and this is what I've seen a lot of people do, is try to live off of just the art in a
Right.
story, in a book. That won't work. You got to have something behind it.
Yeah,
There's a visual
for sure.
piece and then there's a writing piece. Um, and that's where some of, like, you brought up Zenoscope, for example. There's sometimes with Zenoscope, the writing falls flat for me. Um, and it's just because some of the stories just don't make sense because they're trying to push a little bit too much too fast on it. But I will say, for example, the cover arts are gorgeous. There's so much good cover arts that's done on Zenoscope as well.
Absolutely. For sure.
And a lot of it's because it's friends of ours that's doing it. You
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
It feels
uh,
good, right?
uh, and that's like for me. That's why I always like to support my friends with Kickstarters and
Yeah.
whatnot. It's like I've been supporting April for a while. With Naughty Fairies supporting you
Yeah,
guys this last year, but
for sure.
you know,
Thank you.
I've not read an actual Marvel or DC book in probably 5 years for
Mhm.
that reason. It's because
Well,
there's
we
actually
appreciate
good stories out there to read.
Well, it comes down to the fact that, you'll hear a lot of us talk about, at least with us, is we want you to read the book. Read the book. You know what I mean? The covers are beautiful and we love the covers and we love the teams. You know what I mean? But the art on the inside is just as good looking.
Hmm.
It's one of those things where people are not used to, I think, the level of quality that we want to give you. We're literally trying to um, give you something that you don't get all the time. And we want to give you different type of storytelling, and we also want to give you um, a different story too, not just a different type of storytelling. But it's funny because it's when we go out and we're like, hey, what's the next book? You know what I mean? What is the next series that we're putting out? And it's like, man, we literally are pushing ourselves and our boundaries to give you quality content that you have not read before. And that's important, just like the art. And we appreciate people that go out and read the books, because that's what it's about. Putting out the quality content. Oh, that looks so good, dude. Oh,
It does. It looks amazing.
Thank you.
Well, I gotta brag a little bit on April too, because she does a lot of other stuff too. Let me show you.
oh my gosh, April is.
Oh my.
So
She likes to call herself the best of the worst.
it's like these things.
Yeah.
I appreciate you doing these kind of things because you know
Oh
why?
yeah, collectible cards.
It shows as an artist that you can do it in different scales. Because I hear a lot of artists hate doing cards now.
Well, it has its pros and its cons.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things that I remember having with sketch cards is that I do some licensed sketch cards for like Dynamite. And when the COVID shutdown happened, I had just signed on to do 250 or 200 cards. Yeah, I wound up having 245 Red Sonja cards. I had 200 I had to turn in. And, well, I ran out of skin tone. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I had to call 4 different art supply stores to find one that had the light peach colored pencil. Because Red Sonja is in a chainmail bikini. That's a lot of skin. And I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, I don't know. It's super fun. You get a lot more comfortable with trying to draw consistently when you do sketch cards. I do recommend it for people wanting to experiment and explore comic art. It is one of those weird ones that you do get to do for the exposure. But I don't know. It's not for everybody, but it certainly helped me, do people better and work in a variety of scales and a variety of sizes.
And that's hard. I mean, because there's a lot of people I've talked to at the last convention at Fan Expo. Kincaid, for example, he was talking about, he's like, he loves to do the bigger drawings just because it gives him more room to draw. And so I always told him, like, well, if you want to do a commission, I'll have you do an 18 by 24. He said, I'll kill you for that. I told him, I said, you wanted a big commission, I'll give you one. But I mean, you got to be realistic too. Kind of like there's a scale that every artist uses that I've noticed that works for them the best. And so you need to respect that. And that's what I do.
I think when I did my Lady Death cover, that I did it oversized. I think I was working at like 18 by 24 size. I don't know. It's hung above my husband's computer. He's like, nope, never getting rid of this. They can kiss my ass. I'm like, oh yeah.
I would. I've
Maybe
been trying to find that book for years.
What?
I've been trying to find your book for years at a decent
Have
price.
You?
But yeah.
Aww, you're so sweet. Yeah, Julian told me that the Catacombs is finally out of like every single one of their copies, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding! Blushes, sparkle, sparkle. So I'm like, put in a good word so I can do another one someday. He's like, just do it. I'm like, yeah, okay, huh. And then I'm like, mountain of like art that I'm supposed to already do. I'll get around to it someday. It's weird. Whenever you're really, really ready for something, all of a sudden nothing else matters. And I've been telling myself for an entire year, I'm going to focus on sequentials. I'm going to focus on sequentials. And I keep getting sidetracked. And I'm like, this is the year. This is the year I'm going to focus on sequentials. I have a feeling you're going to be very, very happy with my decision. So
Now,
I think so. I think people are going to be very happy with it.
well, I have a question then for that one. Have you ever wanted to do your whole book?
I have.
On your
I've got it somewhere. Well, it's somewhere. But I did 3 books, I think. No, 2.5 books of Mark of the Terran, where I did all the art on the inside, and it was amazing. And I've got 10 pages of the next issue already done, but can I get back to it? No. And now Dustin's made me a mermaid story, and I'm like, fuck all of that. I'm doing mermaids.
Yeah.
So, yeah, obviously, all it takes is something shiny to completely distract me.
Well, we got dinosaurs and then mermaids.
Yeah, something like that.
So you got dinosaurs, we have mermaids, so we just need unicorns, right?
Oh, don't get me started with Unicorn Girl. He shows up in Kinktober a lot.
Hey, actually, that's a good segue to talk about Kinktober. So a lot of people might not know what it is per se. So let me kind of show the good folks out there.
You see Mermaid Girl?
Oh,
yeah. My sea urchin mermaid. Yeah. Sorry, it's so shiny.
I like shiny.
That one shows up a little bit better. But yeah, no. Unicorn Girl, she shows up a lot. Not so much in this episode of Squeezem, but she does show up quite a bit.
There's another member of our team right there.
Where?
Mr. ESK.
Hello.
He's an amazing member of our team. We wouldn't be able to do half what we do without him.
Yay! Hello.
All right, so let me show this one. So this is.
Oh yes, I spent 4 hours alone on that tattoo work. I cannot wait to see it printed. If you pick up a copy and you look real close, that devil girl that is hunkered down, it's Dante's Inferno on her back.
Yeah. That's a lot of work, dude. You did a lot of work on that shit.
I was in the pickup lane from hell that first couple of weeks of school. I had nothing else better to do than to sit there and do that shit. It was crazy. Thank you. But yeah, so anybody who is curious about what Kinktober is, it is a 1-month drawing challenge where you get like an advent calendar, a suggestion, and you draw once a day. And so these are, I did not make this list, but I sure as fuck did it. Consider 2 things that I don't mind drawing, much less, it's just interesting. No judgments, but I'm not really into some of the things that were in the suggestion pool. The raw list is found on Twitter. There's like 3 suggestions per day. I just picked what I thought I could get away with. And so all of these are done on paper that's been cut down to 6 to 9 inches. They're all hand-drawn, hand-colored, and then I'll scan them in and do a couple of corrective things. Sometimes with like the colored pencil, it'll leave some artifact just like on the pages. You just want to clean it up a little bit. But like this one was hard. It was like day 1 or day 2, it was knife play. How do you have non-human things holding knives? So I put them on the hooves and they're like cutting each other. And since they're in the sea, like they're hippocampuses or something, like animal mermaids, whatever. So I have them cutting themselves, and then you can see in the shadows across their bodies are sharks like hanging out in the water. So there's an extra level of danger. I don't know. I was like, my God. But I look at it and I think it's one of my favorite pieces out of the whole thing. Human furniture. So he's an easel and he can't move, which is like the most terrifying thing for an artist, right? That one was stockings, I'm pretty sure. That one was my practice one, and I really just liked his disposition. Leather latex and vampires. Going for plus size. Also a leather latex request. And then we have our unlocks. Oh, yes. And oh my gosh, you guys, the Squee eraser is literally the best thing every artist can possibly have in their arsenal. It's great for censorship and it actually works.
I'm a fan of the Squee.
Oh my gosh. So am I. And then one of my biggest things was that during volume 2, George Weber was amazing and actually agreed to do a cover for us. And he was going through some health issues. So I bought back my artist proofs that I sent him to help kind of fund some medical issues. So if you get a chance to go not only support, check out like his Cartoons Behaving Badly website or Pillow and Lucky, go and support that. He's amazing. So I actually have his, I think I only have 2 left of the 5 from the campaign. And I'll be doing remarks on all of those and making those available as soon as I get done with the actual interior pages. Dustin really liked the red background. I really liked the blue background. And so you literally get the best of both worlds.
See, you can see what I picked. I picked the blue one.
Woohoo! Excellent. It looks good no matter how you do it. I just thought it was hilarious that Dustin's all blue label and I'm all red label, and we basically inverted.
Yeah.
Oh, Liera's Cross there for the cover C. She's the gal that's got that book coming out, Rain. We did a cover swap, and so I'm working on my cover for her book.
Yeah.
And that was what she submitted for mine. And I can't wait to just put that on like a whole bunch of holofoil paper. Franco Woods, unsung hero of the comic industry. Looking forward to having more stuff from him.
Oh, yeah.
Devin. Love that man. I spent so much time on that background. It's stupid. I built that entire background. It was crazy. And then this I got to that day and I was like, this is quality. Like, I mean, it's all quality, but like I am a sucker for mermaids. And
sea is hanging out.
Right. And then you get the unicorn girl as a burlesque dancer. So you get the trio, which is fantastic. And it's ironic that the gal that purchased the cover art from volume 2 basically gets volume 3 cover art too. But yeah, naughty and nice. It's funny is that the nice version is really not that nice because I put a panty on her, which I think is far more sexy than the nude variant. So you're gonna have to like support both campaigns in order to get both if you're a completionist. And then a lot of these are covers that I've done or submitted for Ethereal, and they've all been formatted with the licensed brand. You get some of the Squeezem cover art, as well as you can see Penny from Theater 7 up top. You get Greed, you get Fallen Leaves. If it hops, oh my goodness. And what's really awesome is that since they'll be in my possession, if you request a remark, it's one of those things that kind of easily do. So yeah, super fun. Trevor Grace did that that bottom one.
So good.
So awesome. Between him and we should do a Ethereal poll. Who actually does a better belt hole? Would it be Liaris or would it be Trevor Grace? Those, both of them. Bottoms up is fantastic.
Well, there was a point where he and I had talked about doing Ethereal bottoms, just a
right.
Yeah, we're going to put it under the red label, just Ethereal.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I told you I may be the best or the worst thing because it's going to be like me on the tarmac with those like ushering people. Just let it all go.
Yeah, it almost happened. It may very well still happen.
I hope so. But yeah, so then what's really cool is that you can really experiment with different papers, you know, whether you get the hollow foils or you get the matte versions. I got to take a tour of the printing company and they showed me a lot of what they could do. And I'm just super excited to see, one, having every one of these pieces done, and two, being able to see how they look on holofoil. You can only speculate, but just the way it captures the eye or whatnot. CB Zane and I also did a art trade, and that I still have the original piece available for purchase in case anybody is interested. But I really, really, really like the lace work that he did and that little mask across her face. It's very striking. Plus CB is like super awesome. But yeah, it was a very successful campaign. I'm really, really happy how it turned out. So
for sure. I thought it was really good.
I was
really happy with that one. And I mean, for it to be the first red label book, I think it did really well.
I agree.
Well, can you kind of explain how it works, April? Like, you know, for example, I got the artwork, you know, for one of the days. So one of those days is going to be in the actual book.
No, the entire everything. That's why I'm still working on it. I unfortunately, like, I learned something new every time I did it. The first year was, oh, I have no idea if this is even going to work. But I had such an outcry of people saying, oh, yeah, this is some of your best work possible. Like, you have to put it into a book. I'm like, ugh. And I couldn't believe that it was successful. Then the next year I did it, I get the list. I post it in September. People can do their pre-orders of things that they already know that they like. And if they already like it, or they already like the kink suggestion, if they already know that that's what they want to see in their personal portfolio, then that's the day that they lock in. If they don't like what I create, I just do another one and I offer what I did up for community purchase. That way you are not getting a piece of art that you don't already love. And that was really successful. And that took about the middle of the second week before people were like, yeah, this is awesome. And then, I sold out yet again for all the days. And the book wound up being 52 pages, both for volume 1 and volume 2. This year, obviously, people have caught on to what kind of shenanigans I'm up to.
Yeah.
And it had certainly surpassed my expectations. I've never had to put a cap on it before, and I didn't really think about it this time around. And unfortunately, when I really tallied it up at the very, very end, I wound up having like 70 pieces secured on pre-orders, and then another 5 that I'm supposed to do for Kickstarter backers because I thought I'd have leftovers.
Yeah.
So here we are. I've scanned 55 of them. I've got like another dozen in the wings. And I can actually show them to you because I haven't scanned them yet. And I don't have to worry about it messing up the system. This one, I think, was lingerie. They asked for Bride of Frankenstein. The only rule is that I won't do copyrighted characters. And so I think that she's like free property, honest. So
unless they're ethereal characters.
And yeah, it's printing under ethereal. I'm sure Dustin is probably thinking, oh my God, what did I just do to myself?
There's a couple of them that I'm kind of scared of, but I'm okay.
Right? This is role reversal.
The camera's very dark, April.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Turn off the light.
Yeah.
It works. Okay. So that's his role reversal. Oddly enough, this is one of those days that doesn't have an owner, so it's going to the Kickstarter backers. The other one that is going to Kickstarter backers is this one. This is formal wear. This one was bondage.
That's almost like a Hellraiser.
Yeah. They wanted vampires, and I'm like, well, I think vampires is my number one suggested thing out of the entire whatever it is, out of all of Kinktober this year. This was cross dress. So this is my male version of Agent C. I love it so much.
Poor Dustin.
With his little like tail butt plug. It's so funny. And his little like furry boots. That's just ambitious.
That's probably my favorite.
Yeah, right.
The face, though. The face on that is amazing.
I actually got to use my airbrush system for this one. I was so happy.
So good.
Because I airbrushed the back of it and got that deep Caribbean sea look.
Yeah, I love that, dude. That's great.
To do a Valkyrie with a dragon. This one is also a favorite.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I figure that horse would be like, what the fuck? What are you doing? Jesus.
Stop doing shenanigans.
Either that or the horse got happy.
What? No,
I don't... Adam,
look,
Madam, what are you doing?
Right? Madam. But yeah, so I've had a lot of fun doing these. And so it's only supposed to be one per day. But I know no bounds. I know no limits. And so I told Dustin that next year he's got to help save me from myself. And we got to come up with a way to do it so that like I'm not like, I don't know. There are just some days that like only have 1 or 2 requests. And so I can manage, 5 or 6 on Shibiari or whatever, the rope art stuff, which I really love doing. So it doesn't make any sense to limit it just to 2 per day and not have every single day filled. So
for sure.
Yeah, I don't know what the secret sauce is, but this year got a little bit away from me on top of all of the project managing stuff. And so I think I'm down to my last 5 to color, 1 to ink, and 2 more to draw, and then I'm done.
Yeah, you've put a lot of work into it, dude.
But yeah, no, I've had a great time doing them, and I can tell a difference in my design and quality of art from the beginning of the campaign to the end of the campaign. It's like I can see it, and it gives me a lot of excitement and drive, and I'm already looking forward to next year, but like after I get to draw some like regular stuff.
Yeah,
regular stuff.
Well, okay, so I think what makes Inktober special is that it only happens once a year. So if I draw nothing but dick and vagina like the entire 365 days, you don't really get anything special. I have never drawn men prior to Kinktober. I think I've drawn like maybe 2 or 3 on like a sketch card or something, but it's never been like print wall worthy. I think I've done like 2 or 3 mer people that were of the male persuasion, but it's just nothing I've been able to hang my hat on. And so this has certainly offered me an opportunity to really expand and try new things in a way that like it really was a fuck around and find out kind of moment. And every single year I've learned some stuff, and I'm not a kink artist. I just am doing it for, well, I'd say once a year, but unfortunately that once a year is dragged out to October, November, December, and now we're in January. So, so it doesn't feel as limited as it should be, but I'm not taking new requests for it until October of next year. Any type of kinky elements will have to be found through the Ethereal publishing, whether it be cover art or, whatever in that facet. Because I've found my home with Ethereal. I know that that's who I'm going to be spending a lot of my time over the year with. So yeah. So when you find those blank variant sketch tiers and you want a little bit of that naughty, that's the best time to get it. The naughty. And they do have 1 day left on that Kickstarter.
Which I was going to bring up. So let me show that to the good folks. We got to do it.
Got to do it.
That's it.
Some of it's so wholesome, but not.
Yeah, it's doing well, man. It's doing well.
9651. You got 22 hours. If you've not supported this, go support it.
Oh my gosh. For nothing else, this adorable stickers.
Exactly.
They came out so cute. Trevor killed those stickers, man. I just
love
it. It's a lot of fun because it's a short story with characters from all the different books. I've had.
I love what Sean does too. I've been reading some of his stuff too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. He's great, man. He's absolutely great. Like this is all Blade and Hunter's interior stuff with David Ocampo's colors. So you'll see characters from Greed. You'll see characters from The Listener, Yvette Hops, BGD. All breaking the fourth wall. It's just been a ton of fun.
Man, I was hoping we would get those extra pages this
time.
Might.
We might.
We got one day. We need everybody to join in.
Yeah, if we don't hit those extra pages, this will be the first time we haven't since we started doing them. And that's okay. You know, this was a Christmas book, and it was something that the team had a good time with. You know, we were all just trying to have fun and make sure that we were all still working. You know what I mean? It was like, you know, let's keep working throughout the holidays. So we all just kept working.
And I appreciate like you guys and Mark and the other one that do like these special editions, like the Halloween, the Christmas ones. Those are fun books because
They
it has
really are
nothing to
fun.
do with the story, the main story, but it's just fun to have a side story to read.
For sure. That Morgan Bailey cover came out beautiful.
Yes. I think it's one of my favorites that she's produced.
For sure. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good. And what I like that you guys don't do is have 8,000 covers. When I'm trying to pick one or two at Kickstarter, it makes it fun. When
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
8,000 to pick from, but at least there's enough to have a good selection from.
For sure.
And I appreciate that.
Well, you know, we try to, we're cutting it down further this coming year, because with the amount of books we're putting out, we want to make sure that people can get what they want. You know what I mean? So if you don't feel like you've got to hit a bajillion books, cool, I love those stickers. I can't get over those stickers. If you don't feel like you've got to get all of them, it gives you an opportunity to go over to the other campaigns and pick up the other books if you want to pick up another issue, you know, because again, we're doing 2 books a month now. So it's a very, it's part of our goals is to make sure that people can afford our products first off, you know, because every dollar counts, especially in this economy. And if we're going to put out product that we expect, you know, or want people to pick up, then people have to be able to afford it. You know, we're not trying to go out and put out a book where you can't get the copies you want or the covers you want without spending $100. That's ridiculous, you know.
Yeah.
So you'll notice that on all our books, the regular book is $14.99 and the wild book is $19.99. With the exception of the year of books, which we only even put out, I think we only put out 50 of each of those. So it's like, if you really want the year of books, snag one. But they normally come out in sets, and I think we normally do them at like $30 to $40 for the sets, you know, for both issues. But it's this year is the year of the digital flame, so it's all video game, like our favorite video games. So like once a month we'll do something cool for our favorite video game.
Ooh.
Like
Ooh.
Fallen Leaves has what?
Can I do, if it hops, I'll do a golden eye swipe?
Yeah, if you think it'll work, I'm for that.
Yes. That's like iconic for the 90s, right?
Well, GoldenEye was certainly iconic for the Nintendo 64. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
This month, I know that we're doing World of Warcraft for the Elf book. For Fallen Leaves is World of Warcraft, so that should be a lot of fun. And I don't know, I don't know that I should tell you what we're doing for next month, but I know that the listener is supposed to get a Turok cover. So that's really cool.
There we go.
But other than that, we just did you can get the entire Year of the Blue Flame for last year, the metal editions on that campaign. So I think it's like 9-10 books that are metals that you can get, and this will be the last opportunity that we give people to pick them up for this past year. But this year coming up is going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, we got the Year of the Digital Flame, so look forward to some fun stuff. I'm sure somebody's going to do like a blitz, like an NFL blitz, and somebody will want to do like Paperboy or
Pitfall. Come on, Pitfall.
You know, Pitfall. Yeah, I'm sure that we'll see a bunch of the, you know, the retro cover art type of stuff, you know. So, and even if it's not like homage to cover art, it'll be like easily you'll know the game that it's attached to, you know. I think that we joked about doing like a Donkey Kong, like the original with Mario and stuff, running up the platforms. So you guys will see a bunch of fun ones. It'll be good.
Well, I'm happy. I got some good books to read, and there's been a lot of great art. Thank you guys. And April,
For sure.
Thank you so much for being here tonight. We really appreciate it. Thank you for showing us this
pleasure.
great art.
Oh, you're welcome anytime.
All right. So before we wrap up here, let's get where you at. Where can we find you, good people, at if we need to get a hold of you?
Ethereal.
Yeah. We are around.
I'm on Facebook under Reyna Art or under my name, April Reyna, if you want all my dank dark memes. Yeah, I'm wildly inappropriate. I'm also on Instagram under Reyna_art. Yeah, I'm a simple girl.
simple fellow.
Some people have to have a link tree. I got two. I got two places to find me.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to have a bunch, but now it's basically like you can find me on Instagram, or you can find me on Facebook in like the Ethereal group, the Ethereal page, my personal page. The website will be back, like officially back up and running order in the next month or two. But anywhere you can find a dirty naked bunny, I'm probably around that area.
Guarantee it.
Probably around there somewhere. And chances are it's my dirty naked bunny, so I'm probably hovering in that region. Or if you take my poor Penny and molest her with snakes, I'm probably in that region too, because
You're welcome.
April has broken me, so I'm probably around there too. As a fan, more than just myself as a fan. But no, like I said, I'm very open. So if you guys want to reach out to me and talk comic books or anything, I'm always available. Because I don't sleep very well. So if you guys want to holler, I'm probably available to shoot the shit and whatnot.
And he's good at doing that because me and him talk a lot.
I am.
Awesome.
I'm pretty good at that. I'm pretty good at shooting the shit every now and then.
All right,
I'm good at a party, you know.
I'm good with alcohol and math.
That's it. I'm not good at finding this file for Nate. I tell you that much.
That's all right. You'll find it.
I'm gonna find it. I'm determined.
We'll be 10 minutes after you're like the conclusion.
Yeah.
Be like, Eureka!
That's all right.
I found the actual. Here it is. I can do it this way.
Is that what you're gonna do?
I've already found it.
Have you?
I'm a magic man. Don't mess with me.
It's one of my favorite.
Don't make me start singing live. I'll do it.
Oh no.
Join you as backup singer.
You don't want it. All right. There we go. Well, we appreciate you having us, Nate, as
Thank
usual.
you guys.
It's always a blast to be on the show.
Yes.
And from myself and April and everybody else with Ethereal, Blade and Hunter, the art team, the writers, you name it. We're grateful to everybody for your support, as well as your support of things in the future. And we hope you enjoy our products as much as we enjoy putting them out for you. And again, it's safe to say that there's always one of us listening. So we appreciate you very much. Thank you.
Thank you guys, everybody out there in YouTube land. Hope you guys have a good night. We'll catch you on the next round. And always check my channel because I always have a link for Ethereal on here. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, these guys.
Bye.